Welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees meeting. Today's Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Vernon, could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Braun?
Present.
Mr. Honolo?
Present.
Mr. Boning?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Fire alarm.
Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we're going to have a swearing-in ceremony for a promotion in our fire department for Lieutenant Barnett.
All right, good afternoon. It's my honor and privilege to announce the promotion of firefighter Aaron Barnett to lieutenant. Lieutenant Barnett was born and raised in Springfield Township and began his journey in the fire service shortly after graduating from Finneytown High School in 2011. Demonstrating a strong commitment to the professional development, he completed his fire and paramedic training and attended the Fire Service Technology program at Cincinnati State Technical College. His dedication to excellence was evident early on, as he was academically ranked highest in his paramedic class and was appointed crew leader during his fire class by his peers and instructors. Lieutenant Barnett joined the Springfield Township Fire Department in 2018 and has served in various capacities, including fire apparatus operator, fire inspector, and acting company officer. Throughout his time here, he has been a cornerstone of our team, mentoring new employees through the onboarding program and assisting with training sessions, where he shares his wealth of knowledge and experience. In addition to his service in Springfield Township, Lieutenant Barnett worked as an aircraft rescue firefighter at the Greater Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport, so he got to drive those big, cool fire trucks. There he responded to aircraft and medical emergencies throughout the airport. He also volunteered as a firefighter for the Village of Green Hills and worked as an emergency department technician at Mercy West Hospital, where he supported medical staff and performed a variety of critical EMS skills. On a personal note, Lieutenant Barnett is a devoted family man. He is married and a proud father to his son, whose love and support inspire him every day to serve his community with encouragement and compassion. Lieutenant Barnett's career and testament to his unwavering commitment to safety, education, and service. His promotion is not only well-deserved, but also reflects the trust and respect he has earned from his peers, leaders, and the community. Please join me in congratulating Lieutenant Aaron Barnett on this significant achievement and thanking him for his continued dedication to the safety and well-being of Springfield Township. So I'm going to have Lieutenant Barnett come up. His wife, Carly, is also going to join and pin his badge on. I, Aaron Barnett, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of Springfield Township, and that I will faithfully execute the position of lieutenant, and that I will be obedient to the rules, regulations, and procedures of the fire department, and faithfully serve Springfield Township to the best of my knowledge and ability. Congratulations.
More noticeable by trying to hide.
Very Right. Felt like the AC was blowing on us.
You cold?
It's cold air.
I feel hot.
You're hot.
I just took
I
a
have
shower.
long under.
Yeah, makes a difference.
I'm
Guys
freezing.
don't want to stay for the meeting?
It's really exciting.
Super exciting.
They're going to party.
Yeah.
Next, we have the minutes for approval from the regular session on December 10th, 2024, the special meeting on December 11th, 2024, ZC 2024-005 for 7250 Winton Road, and our regular work session and 2025 organizational meeting on December 23rd, 2024. Mr. Bernie? I'm sorry.
Do we have a motion?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Bernie, may we have a financial report?
Yes, Mr. Burning, because of the financial department is still working on closing not only the month of December, but all of 2024. Exact figures for the month of December are not yet available. Those numbers will be posted on our township website as soon as they are available. But I do request from the board a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, and payroll expenditures for the period ending December 31st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I want everyone to know financial reports are available for viewing at the administration offices during regular business hours or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Mr. Burning.
Thank you, Mr. Bernie. Mr. Gilbert, do you have a department action and discussion items report for us tonight?
I do. This evening, we just have 2 action items as we get started this year. Obviously, we had a flurry of action at the end of last year and at our organizational meeting for tonight, and prior to us preparing our permanent appropriations, which will be available in March as we close 2024 out at the end of this month. We are looking at 2 action items, one being the Medi-Account Management Agreement. Medi-Account is the company we use to do EMS billing, and as the board is aware, we do soft billing, meaning we only bill the insurance company in the event that we have to do transport to the hospital. And this is just renewing an expired agreement that we have with Medi-Account, is our company that does that billing for us. In addition to the normal agreement, we do have an addendum to that agreement that allows us to work with the state of Ohio and the federal government with Medicaid to recover additional costs associated with providing transport that Medicaid typically covers, but we have to have that addendum agreement in place in order to qualify for those payments from Medicaid. So as the board is aware, this is a very important aspect of the revenue stream for our fire department, in addition to the levy, which we're so gracious that the township residents passed this past November. But this is all part of our planned revenue that we have with the fire department that covers a lot of the EMS associated costs when we have to buy a new ambulance, EMS supplies, operating supplies, things like that. So the billing component, again, it is soft billing, meaning we only bill the insurance company and Medicaid, but it is something that is important. So I would just seek a motion authorizing the township administrator to execute an agreement with Medi-Account Management for a period between 2025 ending at the end of 26.
So moved?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next action item we have is an update to our personnel policy to comply with new federal guidelines and rules in place for employers as it relates to parental leave. Federal law now requires employers to allow up to 6 weeks of parental leave for families that have either adopted or given birth to a child, and that is both for the father and the mother. It doesn't mean that it actually is paid parental leave. It just means that we have to allow them to be away from work for up to 6 weeks. Obviously, our employees, if they have accrued time, whether vacation, comp, or sick, they're able to use that in compliance with this federal law, but it is an update to our policy to, again, comply with what that federal policy dictates. So I would just ask for a motion to approve that personnel policy 318 referred to as parental leave. I don't know.
Yeah,
Laura, if you have
I would
anything
just
to
add that we really have been doing this. If you look at the date on the actual thing, it's 2020. So we've actually been doing this. We just didn't have the board approve it. It was discussed with the board at the time, but it wasn't, we just, for some reason, never got it on action item. So it's sort of, it is really approving it retroactively, but it is, as Chris stated, really what the federal rules are with regard to this. Our prior policy that really is still in books now is completely illegal, but we haven't been applying that. We've been doing it the correct way. But this is just to clean up what's actually in the employee manual and what the board should approve.
And I would say the reason that the policy hasn't been updated since then is because, as with most policies, we try and consolidate a lot of changes at one time, so we're not piecemealing our policy changes. However, when you try and do that, there's always one more.
The straggler.
Yeah, there's always one more that comes to the top. So we decided that while we still are working on various other policies to be updated, this is one that we felt like, because there was a change in the federal law, that we needed to sooner than later get it on the books, even though it is 4 years post that. But we have been, since that law at the federal level has changed, we have been practicing in compliance with the law. But we figured that we can't wait any longer for the other policies to be completed and revised. So we're going to go ahead and put it before the board today.
Do we have a motion then?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Looking at personnel update, in the fire department, obviously, we had the promotion of Aaron Barnett as a lieutenant, as we all witnessed this evening. We did have the new hire also of Marshall Murphy as a part-time medic firefighter. We did have the resignation of Ben Kemper as a part-time EMT firefighter and the resignation of Mark Feldman as a part-time EMT firefighter. In the Public Works Department, we had the promotion of Jody Schinkel to full-time administrative assistant. Previously, she was referred to as an 1820 employee. If you remember, those are the employees that work up to 1,820 hours that aren't quite full-time, but they're a little more than part-time. But we have promoted her to full-time in that department. Looks like there's no other activity in the other department, so now I will turn it over to Kim for community events and programs.
Thank you. Arts Connect right now is hosting a call to artists. We are looking for artists throughout Ohio to submit artwork to go on the electric boxes that are going down Winton Road, and the deadline for that is February the 1st. Our first event of the year is the Daddy-Daughter Dance on March 1st. That is sold out. That following week, we're going to do the Mom Prom on March 8th. I think we have maybe 20 seats left. But we also have a dinner theater in March, which is new, that we're doing, and it is a night of magic and hypnosis. So it'll be a dinner theater, and we have a catering by, oh shoot, what's the name of the, I'm blanking out on the Wyoming restaurant. Anyway, really good, great catering. And also, Arts Connect is in the process right now of filling 2 board seats, and these do need to be community members. So one, we had Rob Roach is taking a nonprofit board seat elsewhere, and I was notified today that Amy Durbin has accepted a position in the YMCA that is no longer going to be housed out of the Springfield Township branch. So we are looking for 2 positions on our board at this time. Anybody that's interested could submit a letter of resignation, a resume, and a cover letter. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. Chief Niehaus, what's going on in the police department?
Good evening. It's kind of different
I
here.
know, you can turn it around.
All right. All right, that makes me feel better. Good evening. So as we begin the year in 2025, it gives the police department the opportunity to begin work on the key priorities which we identified at the end of last year that we wanted to work on this year. And really that first and most key priority for us is our commitment to providing high-quality training opportunities for every member of our organization at all levels, and that includes sworn and unsworn staff. I think for 2025, Our big focus is our in-service training program, and it really emphasizes the dual goals of developing our newer, younger officers that we have recently hired, as well as reinforcing those skills and experiences with our veteran officers. And I think this approach, that dual approach, really ensures a balance and a really comprehensive strategy for professional growth across all levels of the organization. When we look at training, I think really the three key objectives that we're going to try to accomplish with our training this year is focus on those core competencies. Once again, going back to those newer, younger officers and making sure that they have a good understanding and demonstration of those foundational law enforcement skills that are critical for them to perform their job and be successful. Incorporating advanced law enforcement training for those veteran and more seasoned officers. Our tactical medical course that we teach officers tactical medicine in the field, how to care for themselves should they get injured, how to care for members in the community should they become injured and officers arrive on the scene, how to provide immediate care before fire and EMS arrive. And then really, as we're seeing how technology is really changing the landscape of our profession, really embracing technology and looking at those emerging technologies such as drones, cell phone forensics, analytics, and those types of things to just continue to increase our efficiency and the level of service that we're able to deliver. And then last, not to forget the segment of our organization, but really also focusing on the supervisors in the organization. We have a new sergeant and we have supervisors that are now taking on additional responsibilities and different assignments that they've never been in before or never really had the opportunity to experience before. So taking that opportunity to reinforce those advanced leadership capabilities by putting them through those advanced training programs and those programs that are really designed for them to understand what is required out of leadership in the current generation. So I think when we look at all those things, we're really anticipating that improved competency across all ranks, and not just the sworn ranks, but it's our civilian staff as well. Really enhancing that team collaboration and cohesion between the officers, not only in the department, but in their individual shifts. And then really, at the end of it, the root of it is really just trying to prepare them for those advanced challenges that they see on the street every single day. And I really think what the program that we've put together is the command and supervisory staff with our new police training coordinator. I think we're probably going to meet those goals without any problems this year. So I know there's a lot of excitement from the members of the organization to see the shift in training for us this year. So we're pretty excited to get that off the ground.
Chief, I know obviously toward the end of last year, the department was reaccredited through CALEA, the National Accredited Police Agency. Do these trainings that are being planned for 2025 and beyond, I'm assuming that that's part of that accreditation process to where we have to continue to evaluate our training in order to stay accredited?
We do. So it is part of one of the nationally accepted and nationally prescribed standards for training. And CALEA really kind of gives us a guideline what to go by, but gives us a lot of latitude as an agency to adopt those training practices that are best not only for our agency, but what's best for the community that we serve. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions of the board?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Director Bly, I know obviously Chief Miller went next door to celebrate with now Lieutenant Barnett.
Yeah, and then we just heard the sirens going off, so I'm sure they're taking off to go somewhere else. So, but they've been very busy. I think this is the busy time of the year. Not just alone. I think one of the things I wanted to make a comment on about that promotional process. We've had a lot of those promotional processes just last year because we've had so many retirements. In this process, just like any other ones, we had 7 candidates that participated in that, where they tested. They had a test that we had distributed and conducted through the Cincinnati State. They had practical exercises that they went through during this process, written exercises, and then also interviews with us. So the cool thing about it, what you really learn and what you see through that is that all 7 of those candidates would have been successful. And that just shows the strength of the training that Chief Niehaus was talking about in the police department, is that they're in the fire department, that we really got a really good core base of
employees that are capable of stepping up in those supervisor roles. So we're not going to miss a beat here with those promotions. But I think what the chief really kind of on his report just wanted to kind of update the community that this is a busy time of the year, unfortunately, for structure fires and fires that they have. We kind of mentioned that before because a lot of it has to do with just space heaters and heaters and stuff like that. So I think he just wanted to remind everybody that kind of watch what you're doing. Make sure you're not using your ovens to heat your house. If you have space heaters, make sure that they're stable. Make sure they're not near curtains or anything that's flammable in that, because that seems to be the culprit of a lot of our fire runs that we get during the winter months. Also a good time to kind of take a look because of all the snow. Carbon monoxide poisoning, make sure your vents are clear from outside. If you see the snow blocking those vents, just make sure that those are clear because those are some of the calls that they also get. So really, they've been busy. I mean, the EMS runs alone through the month of December was total about 491 EMS runs for our fire department, that means our ambulances are going about 15 times a day to different spots, and then handling about 150 fire runs on top of that. And they did have a couple critical incidents just recently with some structure fires down on Vine Street and stuff like that. So they've been doing a really good job, really busy. So just trying to make sure to give the community some safety points to stay safe.
Yeah, I would say, fighting a fire in this weather has got to be very difficult because the water freezes almost instantaneously.
Yeah, so as soon as we have something like that, I mean, I think it's a testament to what we've talked about all the time with this team. The police department has to be there. The public works has to be there to salt the streets and the sidewalks so we don't have any injuries. So it takes a lot when something like that happens. So
I can imagine. And speaking of public works and salt, Scott Chardine, our public works director, is not here tonight. I told him to go home and get some sleep. Since Friday, obviously, he and his team have collectively worked over 750 hours of overtime. Not individually, obviously, collectively. And they spent, for the most part, probably 20 hours a day, if not more, here since Friday. Stories of them telling me we slept for 2 or 3 hours while we had a break in the snow in our truck, or we laid down a cot in the break room in Public Works and laid down and slept for an hour or two as we can. We talk about police and fire, and no doubt you guys are heroes, but you have individuals in the Public Works Department that are largely overlooked when it comes to, public service heroes. And then you ask someone to get almost no sleep for days on end, drive an enormous vehicle with a snowplow on it in the dark, plowing snow for 10 or 12 hours at a time. That's a hero. And I'm marveled at what they do. And then when they're done plowing snow, they turn around and get up and go plow sidewalks on Winton Road so people can get to the bus stop safely and kids can leave school safely and get home. They're as much heroes as police and fire are when it comes to service. These storms are very expensive for communities too, for us. If you look at how much time we put into this, over 750 hours of overtime, when you encompass the 16 or 17 people that were involved in removing the snow from streets, and then additionally just the cost of material. We put down almost 1,500 tons of salt. Salt costs almost $80 a ton. You do the math. So these storms are outrageously expensive, but it is a service that is obviously critical to our community, and I think one that our community is known for in the region in terms of snow removal. If you drive anywhere around in this region after a snowstorm, I guarantee you're going to find a hard place that's going to be better equipped and take care of the snow removal better than Springfield Township. And I think that's a testament to Scott and his team. And I wish he was here tonight to hear that, but again, hopefully he's at home getting some sleep because he desperately needs it. I had a meeting with him. He and I have a meeting every Tuesday at 10 in the morning to go over things. And he about fell asleep 2 or 3 times during that meeting. And at first I was taking offense to it, which, am I that boring? But he was extremely tired, and I can tell. Generally, he's super upbeat and enthusiastic and ready to go. This morning he was dragging. And I said, do not come tonight. You go home and spend some time with your wife and get some much needed rest. So that's where he's at tonight. But those guys are phenomenal at what they do. So.
Yeah, the amount of injuries and accidents that they prevented, you can't really measure that, but I don't think we took very many auto accidents because of the weather, because of the job they did. So yeah.
And it's not just during the event; it's leading up to that.
Yeah.
They're constantly they're kind of pseudo meteorologists at this point by studying the weather patterns and what's coming and preparing for that, whether it's pre-treating, getting the trucks ready. And you think it's just loading the trucks and going. No, hydraulics fail, trucks break. They're constantly in and out of our fleet garage, getting fixed, going back out on the road. It is quite an operation if you've not seen it, and they do a phenomenal job at it. So.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
That concludes departmental activity reports, unless there's any questions of the board.
Next on the agenda is our resolutions. First one is resolution number 9, 2025, modifying the schedule listing each street on which parking is prohibited or restricted within Springfield Township as required by section 302.2 of the Springfield Township parking regulations. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Braun?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 10, 2025, authorizing sale by internet auction of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property in the fire department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Braun?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 11, 2025, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Braun?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Do we have any old business before the board?
I do
I
not.
do not.
New business?
Nope.
No, not this evening.
You thinking about it? Next on the agenda is our citizen participation. If you're interested in saying something, please step up to the microphone, give us your name and address, and if everyone could be quiet while the people are talking, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening.
You can move that, Reese, if you need to.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Reese Reynolds, 851 Galaxy Court. I had a couple of questions, but one particular question I had was, what are the vents that are, sir? Yeah, so what are the vents outside? What
So
is
some of
that?
your vents that are coming from your house, you know, if it's on the side, or there's a lot of, you know, it's usually
Exhaust
like a
vents for
white,
your-
yeah,
for
an
your
exhaust
furnace.
pump. Sometimes they're
okay.
not on, they're more on the foundation and not up through the roof.
Oh,
So you just
gotcha.
got to
Hot
check
water
them out.
heaters.
Yeah, your hot water heater and your dryer. So just make sure that those vents that are
Gotcha.
going out there, just make sure that snow isn't getting up too high on the, you know, with the drifting and stuff like that. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That was one
Especially
question.
if your washer and dryer in the basement, they're more likely to be lower.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so couple of things. I had to write this down. Number one, do we have or don't we have, or doesn't anybody care about noise in the neighborhood? And the reason I'm asking is Christmas Eve and New Year's, in our neighborhood, they were doing fireworks until 2:30 in the morning. So is that something that's nobody cares about, or what?
Well, I can't say if the neighborhood cares about it, but.
Oh, no, the neighborhood does, but I'm just saying, are we
So
supposed to?
yes, I mean, there are, Ohio law now allows fireworks at certain times a year, and there is a regulation into how late they can go. So clearly, we care about whatever residents care about. So if you've called the police, then we will respond, if available, to go out and deal with those noise complaints. Now, and I'll let Director Bly address this, but most often, and Chief Niehaus can as well, when we get out there, it's where did they come from? Are they still doing it? Can we find who did it? Those kind of things. So
Yeah, I think that is 2:30 in the morning. No, that's not during probably the prohibited hours of it. So I think the most important thing is that we encourage them, make sure that you give us a call when it happens. Don't think that you're we're bothering people, or bothering the police over something that's just, but yeah, make sure that we know where we're at. And we go out there and investigate it the best we can, as Mr. Gilbert explained. Especially if we get calls back, we get a good idea. The more information that we get, where it's coming from, who's doing it, that's very helpful for us, so.
Because I did call.
Okay.
But I got a recorded message that said, if you got a problem, call 911.
So
So-
so the recording that we do have after 8 p.m., if you call the non-emergency number,
Right.
there is an option on there that should take you right to the communication center. It says if you want to speak with an officer, you press this number and it'll take you right to the communication center. The communication center is a 911 operator there, but that's a non-emergency line that will go to them just as well. So,
Okay.
so I apologize for that confusion, but yeah, so even if you call the non-emergency number, which is the 729-1300, those options should be where you could press and it will take you to the Hamilton County Dispatch in the evening hours or in the early morning hours when we don't have a non-emergency dispatcher in.
Our non-emergency dispatchers locally at the Township Police Department, they do not work 24 hours a day.
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah.
all right. The second thing is, I think the last meeting I attended, there was a discussion about the slow down. You said we can't have those bump strips. Yeah, and so you were looking into the cost. Well, you already know what the cost is, but you were looking into the issue with the strips. So has anything ever happened with that, or we're not going to get them, or?
It's something obviously we're looking at for 2025.
Okay.
It's clearly not something we were able to install over the winter, right? So,
Right, yeah.
So it's something that we're looking for 2025 for sure. Where they go and who gets them and what's their criteria, that's still being developed, but we are looking at, in the 2025 budget, we are looking at putting funding in place in order to have those potentially in certain heavily trafficked neighborhoods for sure.
Well, I think at least part of our issue is it's not necessarily heavily trafficked, and that's why people know they can drive 60 miles an hour down North Hill. And because there are hills, if you're walking across the street with your dog
Yeah.
and you're in the valley, somebody comes flying up over that hill, it's just a mess.
And again, that may be one criteria, but that isn't sort of, as we develop the policy associated with where they go, volume of traffic is just one component of it.
Okay.
We will do, and we are investing in speed signs that record speeding prior to us placing them in an area so that we can track the speed sort of in a stealth way. They won't know they're there, so that we can then tell a measurable difference between before the speed bump was there and then after. Because what we've noticed before is when we put those trailers on, people see them and record speed, it's given us, I'm not going to say it's fake data, it's real, but it's been influenced by that sign, right? That people see, and they're maybe artificially slowing down where they wouldn't otherwise. So we're investing in some equipment that's going to allow us to record that speed in a way that the driver isn't aware that's there, so that then we can have really good data to show that prior to and post the speed bump, that it actually made a measurable difference.
Okay. And this one is just a really small one. So there are a bunch of people that have the new signs in their neighborhood that say Springfield Township. We still have the old signs. When are we going to get the new signs? I'm just asking for a friend.
Former trustee Davis asked me the same thing.
I live right around the corner from her.
Is she the friend?
Yes, no.
But yes, we are making our way through the township and replacing those signs as we get through. You can understand though, with 400 streets and the number of signs in the township, it's slow going, but we're going to get there at some point in time. Hopefully in 25.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute, I have one more. So the property maintenance codes, I don't know if anybody's noticed, there's a real uptick in rentals. So people are selling their properties, trying to get rid of them because of the market. And if you can't sell it, then what you do is rent it. So is there, we were looking at the whole issue of nuisance properties. So if there are properties that are not being maintained because they're rented, and the people who own the apartments or the buildings could care less because they don't live there. So you have people parking on the 2 or 3 cars or 4 cars on the lawn, or not picking up after themselves. So again, is that something that needs to be mentioned?
Well, if you notice a property, please call in and let us know, and we'll send out code enforcement to address that through one of various ways, through the nuisance law, our zoning code, or our property maintenance code. You know, different violations fall in different categories, so depending on what the violation is, obviously we make sure that we have the tools to address it, but just call us in and let us know what those properties are, and we'll be happy to send out a person from our code team.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you
Reese.
for coming.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like, Mark?
Hi, my name is Mark Besserman. I'm a 34-year resident of Timber Trail. And I'm going to do something a little bit unusual, which is just to thank you for all the wonderful service you all provide, elected officials, administrators, staff. The township is fantastic, and you guys probably deal with a lot of stress, a lot of hard decisions, a lot of resistance to change. But in my 34 years in the township, I've seen a commitment to excellence that has transcended elected officials, transcended administrative team change, staff change, retirements, and it's really important to me to share that I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, and it's been noticeable over a very long period of time that you expect really good things for the township, and you deliver on them. Up and down Winton Road, there's hardly an empty building. I mean, the business community is thriving. I think citizens, residents are thriving, and it's just a wonderful community to be in. And I wanted to give 2 very specific examples. Chris stole my thunder on one of them, which is snow removal. I've noticed that. I've noticed it for many years. The township has done a fantastic job. I was going to make a comment on the sidewalk clearing up and down Winton Road. That's an unusual thing and is, I think, very much appreciated by residents and is a fantastic service. The other one I've noticed is last fall, I had a need to remove a lot of brush, and your brush removal service through the service department really did a fantastic job. I called them 4 different weeks in a row, and within a day or 2, they had cleared mounds of piles of honeysuckle brush. And they really did a very efficient, very quick job, and is a wonderful service. So I'm really looking forward to 2025. Again, thank you for all the wonderful work you do. Avoid the culture wars and just focus on making really good decisions like you've been doing, and really keep up the good work. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate it.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Presley. I am the Senior Branch Manager of the North Central Branch Library. Our address is 11109 Hamilton Avenue. Yes, finally got it. It only took 2 years, right? My message is very quick. We just started an ESOL club, and it's just a conversation group. So if you know anyone who is wanting to learn English as their second language, or they just want to practice, we will have it every Saturday. Let me make sure I gave you the right time. Every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., and it's for adults. The other thing that I want to kind of shout out, and I'll give these all to you, is our winter checkout challenge. So it starts on the 21st of January. You just go into any branch. You can come see me, say hey, and you will get your materials, and you get a nice coaster. And if you complete the challenge, and I will say that we are on the honor challenge for this, so we don't card and we don't check, but you get a nice coffee mug, and they are so nice every year. I don't know how they keep doing it. Totally free, just from you checking items out at the library. So that is from January 21st to the 28th. And with a lot of the kids being home a bit more from the snow days, spring break will be coming up soon, I brought in some gun locks to give out if people would want them. Our sole purpose for giving these out at the branches is just to make sure that kiddos are safe in their home. And if you are a gun owner, that you can safely have your weapon in, I don't know if they call it a weapon, but you can have the gun safely in your home. So if you would like one of those, see me in the back when we've adjourned. And that's all I have. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Nice seeing everyone. Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the board?
Come on up, Jane.
I feel like I want to take a picture of Sarah because I never saw her behind the board before. My name's Jane Tidwell, and my husband and I have lived in Finneytown for probably since 1987. First couple years were on Windray Court, down in the cul-de-sac. The Murphys now live in our home, and we moved on Denier Place, A32. And the reason I'm here tonight, our street has been going under some changes with regards to how we understood the rules on our street over the past years. And we have some people looking at that, our president, vice president, and secretary, and they have invited an attorney in on that as well. So I understand Sarah posed questions to you, Chris, and I was impressed and satisfied with all of those answers. However, one was a concern to me, and this is why. Jamie Kircher, our president, has been for several years, told me this summer, with these new changes, they're discovering that we're really not, and correct me if I'm wrong, like a legal association. Therefore, we really can't require anybody to pay dues, and there is no penalty to take if we did it, which was a shock to us older members because we're like, no, I think we are, and we've always blah, blah, blah. All right, under that new order, or whatever will happen, I was also told by Jamie that residents' votes don't matter. The only three people that need to vote to pass anything is the president, vice president, and secretary. So I don't know if that's going to be true with these changes.
Well, I think the consideration that I illustrated in my email to Sarah in response to some of the questions or concerns that she had received from other residents or neighbors was regarding not so much your HOA rules and regulations, which sounds like
We are not
aren't-
an HOA.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not.
But
we thought we were.
right. As I understand it, there is I'm going to call it an association for lack of a better word, that is made up of the three individuals you talked about that are responsible for the property, which is the street, right? So I'm not going to disagree with what your legal counsel indicated because they're probably right. And in my looking into the situation, the street isn't made up of slivers of parcels that are adjoined to your individual properties. But so for us, what I was simply saying, for the township, this board, this body to decide to accept this private street as public, one of the considerations they may make, or one of the policy decisions they may put in place is every property owner has to agree to it. That doesn't mean legally that's true or that has to be that way. It's just simply saying the township may require that if, which is an enormous if, we even decide to accept it as a public street in the future. That, among many other considerations that I think were illustrated in that email. So I think I understand your question and I understand the concern. I think hopefully this clears it up that wasn't saying that had to be that way. It's just saying that as a board, they may require that for that to go forward, if that makes any sense.
That they may require only them three making that decision, or those three might make the decision, or whoever's in those positions at that time, that all the residents have to.
Correct. This board may require it. Because for
That
the,
all,
that all do,
Yes.
that every
Oh.
resident decides.
Okay.
Because they.
And would
they-
that trump any rule that 832 Denier Place puts into place going forward with, like, say, if the three that are whoever's in charge at that year, at that time, and if they're in charge and only we need their votes on issue, would this board trump that board?
Yes.
If this were to?
Absolutely, because
Okay.
regardless of what your board decides,
Yeah.
this board can do whatever they want.
Gotcha.
So if they say every property owner has to agree to it, it doesn't matter what your board
board,
says,
okay.
it's what this board says. So,
Got it.
again, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, I'm just saying that's one of the things that, as staff, I would ask this board to consider, what are the things that you're gonna put in place to even pursue this?
Sure.
But they first have to decide whether that's even something they're gonna pursue.
Yeah, that's okay about all of that. I just wanted to make sure if something could trump the other, or if that was the thing. And that's really the only question I had. Sarah, do you have any related to any of that? I did want to follow up to the librarian. Two things. We host international students in our home. We have since 2009, so now we're empty nesters. They are college age and adult students. They attend ELS at the campus of UC. So I will mention to them your program. And about your locked boxes, they're not only good for firearms, and they're actually very good at that in reducing lethal means. But also, we talk about them, I work at the Linder Center, for locking up medications. Because overdoses are huge, although they're not as lethal as, arms are. But locking up medications, so adolescents can't get through that.
Clarify, so we have the gun locks, it's just the lock to put on the firearm.
Oh, I
not
see,
the boxes.
not the box
Yeah.
itself.
But we give them away for free to families.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for letting me have these questions. Thanks, Sarah. Here.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board tonight? Okay, apparently they do not. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you all for coming.